Hello. Hello. Here to record my movements for week 20. Just gonna do them all in one shot, one video hopefully. So starting with our supine poses. First, maybe sort of sitting on your bottom, legs extended. You can start here and sort of first lean back, find a comfortable position on the floor, and bring our legs up towards our chest, both of them, and just hug them into our body close to our chest, and staying here, feeling it to the ground for a second, when release pose, and it feels comfortable and right for you, adding in some rocking back and forth, or side to side, forwards and backwards. Every way gives a nice sort of massage to the spine and back. Just playing around with that. Then once we're comfortable, we can just bring our legs to, with knees up, feet touching the ground, finding a stable position on the floor, feeling into the earth on our mat beneath us, with our feet finding a stable position, rounded, before lifting up our hips and pelvis, lifting them up off the ground, engaging our core for bridge pose, just sort of lifting our lower body up, supported by the ground, and the engagement of our abdominals and other muscles. Just feeling into the earth with your hands and the feet that are still touching the ground. And when it feels right, coming out of bridge. And moving to our side lying postures. First we can try out side lying tree. So finding a comfortable way to roll onto your side. It could be left or right to start off, whichever feels better for you. And then just extending outward, so we're laying kind of fully onto our side, legs extended, and then just lifting one leg, whichever the top one is, up, and finding a comfortable position to rest it on the other leg that's still grounded, for side lying tree, and just sort of bouncing into this, feeling sort of muscles all coordinate to keep you on the ground with one leg up. Find your balance, play around with where you have your foot maybe, before switching to the opposite side. Good way for you. Just doing it from the opposite side. And playing around, getting into the same side lying position, and just raising one leg up, playing around with where you place it on the other leg before coming out of this, and still while we're on our side lying position, sort of just doing another movement, the clamshell. So with our feet held together, our ankles kind of touching, just focusing in on just the muscles in our glutes, trying to focus in on just raising up a controlled bit of the leg without moving or removing the feet, letting the feet stay touching, and just moving, rotating the knee up and down, but only using muscles in and just doing this for a couple cycles, breathing in and out before playing around with the opposite leg. And just doing the same thing with feet still touching, sort of raising up, rotating the knee up. And those are our clamshells. Next, I'll bring us into hands and knees. So from our clamshell position, sort of just turning slightly, putting two of our hands on the floor, and then straight into those, using them to kind of lift the rest of our body up, rotating, being supported by the ground as we lift, and then just placing our knees on the ground, feeling into the earth beneath us with our hands under our shoulders and our knees under our hips. Strong grounding pose. And if we'd like to play around with this a little, just adding some movement, some rotation of the hips. Can be a way we do that. So just adding in some rotation, moving the hips around, whatever way feels right to you. Maybe if you're rotating them one way, taking your hips the opposite direction. And when we're ready, playing around with coming up to sort of on just our knees, lifting our bodies upwards, kind of kneeling, taking one hand up, reaching behind us to grasp the same leg, ankle, bringing up our other hand, and sort of looking up as we bend behind us for the camel, half variation, and just holding this for a moment before coming out of it. And repeating on the opposite side. So raising one hand up, sort of reaching back, raising the other hand, looking back, so we stretch out and up. Now we can go up to warrior 2. So sort of from kneeling position, if you want to just bring one leg up, and then sort of stand into that, getting some support from the wall if you need it, or whatever else hopefully is by you. And in this position, we will be doing warrior 2, so kind of on your mat from mountain position, stepping one leg forward and bending down into it, and the other back. The front foot facing forward, and the back foot sort of parallel with the mat. And then we just extend our arms out and feel into our sort of scapula squeezing together. And we just look forward as we do warrior 2. And from this position, just rotating, pivoting forward. So we're looking forward, dropping down into a humble warrior. And from here, you play around with moving our hands into different positions. It might feel good to bring them down and let them hang sort of loose. Might be nice to have them extended behind us, and even more of a stretch for to stretch out more of our shoulders and back, and also just hold them in sort of the traditional position if that feels right for us. And sort of shifting down, back down to the mat, in whatever ways feels comfortable. This time we'll be going prone position, so onto our stomach, and from here, sort of just feeling into the ground beneath us, taking a breath from our last couple movements before sort of engaging our abdomen, lifting our lower legs, or our legs off the ground, our lower body off the ground, and at the same time simultaneously engaging our core to lift our upper body and chest and neck off the ground for a locust pose. And if we'd like to play around with locust pose, if we feel like it's not challenging enough, or we just want to try different sides of the movement, we can raise our hands to the front for sort of Superman. And when we're ready, we can come out of that. And from here, we can just raise up, finding a nice stable place to put our hands on the mat, and pushing up into an upward facing dog. So just finding a stable place to put our hands, lifting up, sort of pressing our chest forward, lifting our neck so we're looking forward or upwards if that's more comfortable for us. And just feeling the curve in our spine, the opening of our chest, and the strength in our legs as we sort of like hold ourselves up in this position, feeling into the ground beneath us. Alright, and when we're ready, we can come into a seated position, just sort of sitting on our, almost as we would do crisscross applesauce, but instead of crossing our legs, we'll just bring the soles of our feet together for butterfly pose. And from here, if we want to play around with changing how far our feet are from our sit bones, getting them closer or farther from our body if that feels right for us. And then once we have a comfortable position, maybe just playing around with leaning into our sides, feeling the differences, maybe getting a little flutter going in our legs. Just feeling that slowly or fast, however pace you want to take it. Just noticing the difference, the shifts it makes in your body. And when you feel satisfied with that, sort of even from this position, or if you want to bring yourself closer together in a kneeling position, or not a kneeling position, in a more standard seated pose, you can just put one hand on the opposite knee, sort of put the same arm behind you, and turn to twist, get a little spinal twist going. And then just playing around and doing that on the opposite side, so taking the opposite hand to opposite knee, and then the same hand as the knee, same arm behind you, and getting a twist. Alright, and those are our poses for today, so thank you for coming along with me.